All right, guys, welcome back with Nick Sementha on the volume number two. Now, on the volume number one, he talked about the importance of having a great relationship with your family. He also talked about that we are all connected in many different ways. Now, I know that I put you on the spot before on greeting you until the end, but now it seems like you have changed your clothing in which that you're more approachable. Just like what you mentioned before, like which is when Jay Cruz, the first time you met him, you were in the suit and this kind of stuff. Now you look like you're in your pajama, but not really. So welcome to the call.
Yeah, I mean, I was joking that it's still a suit, and I will actually step back so you can see this. Everything I own is always like a color-coordinated thing, so this is, in my opinion, still a type of suit. Like, there's a shirt, there's a coat, there are matching pants. That is suit-like at the very least. So, I was like, look, you guys might not be, prejudiced against my suit. It may be the suit material. I don't know. Maybe if I added a hoodie to all suits, it would be acceptable. I'm not sure. But it was funny because they were like, when you were first trying to talk to us and we were all first engaging, you were in a suit and we weren't really into what you were saying. And then the next morning I ran into them all again and I was in my pajama suit, and or suit pajama, if you will. And I ran into them again and we're sitting around and, smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee like people do when they're first waking up in the morning. Mm-hmm. And they're like, you're sitting in dirty ashes and you're not in like super crisp clothes, and all of a sudden I'm listening to what you're saying and I'm like, well, that sounds like a personal problem. It's, like, I'm not saying anything different than what I was saying yesterday. I'm saying the exact same stuff. The only difference is you're listening because you're not judging me by my outermost layer. Which the irony of that statement to a person that's talking about the things I talk about is it's not lost on me. I'll say that.
Okay. Well, I mean, when I look at you right now compared to the volume number one, it seems like you're more approachable, easy to get along with. Because when you have a suit on, it's like a title. It's kind of telling people that I'm a PhD or bachelor or master degree, whatever it is that you have the title on. Do you understand what I mean? It just looks so different. You just like become another human being that is more approachable. That's the reason why I like the way you were right now, which is more pajama type kind of suit.
Yeah, my suit jamma.
Suit jamma. If you call it that way. Now, my question to you is, on the volume number one, you mentioned about you put little things for your wife and here and there and so on. Why a relationship is very important for you, Nick?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us more about it?
Well, they say that the people you choose to have in your life define who you are. Mm-hmm. When I was a very young man, my grandfather used to tell me, if you walk with a cripple, you'll start to limp. Okay. And, I'm incomprehensibly, uncontrollably in love with my wife. Mm-hmm. I know that. I've been through hell on earth for that woman, and I will never stop fighting for her. I believe in her more than anyone has ever believed in me, let alone anyone, maybe. And a lot of people believe in me, oddly enough. But I knew I'm one of those weirdos that's like, oh, I knew within 30 seconds I was going to marry her. She just didn't. And I don't think she really knew until, like, a few months ago exactly how serious I was. Like, no, I mean forever. I mean, no matter what you do or what happens or how bad things ever get, I will always fight for this, for you and the person that I believe in, because that's the choice I made. And I'll tell you this, I grew up always asking to be stronger, and then I met somebody who pushed me to be stronger. And only when I'm at my weakest, she reminds me that I can be stronger, and when my ego gets out of check, she reminds me to chill the hell out. And that's an important thing. But the thing you have to remember about being in a close relationship, a relationship of permanence, and who you choose, especially when you believe you've found that soulmate or that person you're going to spend the rest of your life with, mm-hmm. they become a mirror of you. Mm-hmm. And what that means is that what you put out is what you get back.
Exactly.
What you put in is what you get back. The better you are to them, the better they are to you. The worse you are to them, the worse they are to you. But even more importantly is that when you mistreat yourself, you'll see them begin to do the same.
Mistreat in what way?
Like if you're not conscious about your own life, if you're not like in tune with what's going on, if you're out of the moment, then they're out of the moment. Does that make sense?
Okay. Explain a little bit more.
All right, so I'm sure you guys have heard that like fear is living in the past and anxiety is living in the future.
Yeah.
So that's being outside of the moment because neither of those things exist in the moment. So if you live in the past, you drag them to the past with you, and then there's
Okay.
which is shitty. Sorry. I don't think I'm allowed to curse in this. I apologize if I'm not. You can get that in editing.
Oh, that's fine with me.
I feel so much
So,
different when I'm in different clothes, and I think that that's actually a thing. Psychologically, when I'm suited up, my vocabulary actually shifts. And when I'm
so,
in,
what you're trying to say is that I mean, the suit that you have all the time is like it makes you feel stronger, have more self-confidence, and so on. Is that what you're trying to say?
no, it makes me feel more proper, so I end up curtailing my otherwise terribly unprofessional linguistics and almost abusive nature to the way I speak. I am a very frank human being, and I like that about myself very much. You know, I spend a lot of time trying to figure out, like, oh, who is Nick Sementha? And why does Nick Sementha exist? And what does he like about himself? Which are all really important questions to ask yourself. Like, you need to know who you are. And you need... So, imagine it like an equation. If I want to love somebody else, the first person I have to love is me, right? But if I don't know who I am, then I can't love myself, because you can never really love somebody until you know who you are. And then once you learn who you are, you understand a really important thing, which is how you want to be loved by somebody else. And in turn, you then begin to love other people that way. So it's all like an interconnected thing. Does that kind of clear up what I'm saying?
I understand. Basically, what you're trying to say is always live in the present moment, as well as understand what you truly want from yourself as well. Now,
No. Understand what you need. I
what I
hate
need.
people talk about wants. Wants are silly. Wants are the silliest thing in the world because to want something is inherently unattainable. Like something you want, you can never really have. Because once you have it, you can't want it anymore. So it's almost impossible to satiate a life of wants. That's why so many people are unhappy. They're always running around worried about what they want, what they want, what they want. They never sit down and say, well, what do I need? And when you sit down and you actually look at your needs, it becomes a lot easier to realize what you already have and to be grateful for what you already have. But also it really, really, really helps us laser focus on what we need that we don't have, instead of running around worrying about wants. And it makes the path to being happy much shorter.
You know,
So
what is your definition of happiness? I mean, how do you relate that with business?
peace.
Because the audience that listen to this conversation right now, they'll be like, okay, what is the connection here? I mean, if I make an extra couple sales, that will make me happy. What is the bottom line things in here?
Well, all right. So making more money is great. Having a better relationship with your customers is great. And remember this, how you treat everybody that's close to you is how you treat everybody that's further away from you too. So the reason I talk about the importance of all of your relationships is because they all matter. And if you start taking them, you know, what's the old saying? I think it's like heaven starts at home or something like that. Like if you want to have that life that you want, it starts by fixing what's here first. And really being like, okay, well, if this is the life that I want, if this is the life that I want, and again, we're saying the life that I want, the thing that I'm working towards, what brings me to self-actualization, then what do I need to get there? And as soon as we say, what do I need to get there, then it becomes very different. You know what I mean? End it right there. So where do I find joy is a really good question. What is the thing that I do better than most people? That's always a good place to start if you're on the search of like finding work that makes you happy. You know, find something that you're better at than most people, and then use that to help other people. If you can move your business around that, and the thing about internet marketing is, for a lot of us, it's finding out that thing we understand better than most people.
Yeah.
And how do we help people? We explain it to them. So we make 99 cents to $7 selling info products that explain the things that we know better than most people to other people. And we find fulfillment in that because we're giving a little piece of ourselves, our knowledge, our information, and we're getting the exchange of energy back in the form of money, which is some exchange of energy. But if we then start to look at, okay, now that I'm making money in giving of my energy to people in a positive light, what is the way I want to spend my money so that I have the continued happiness? And one of the things I've learned is that if you spend your money on stuff, you're never really going to be happy.
Okay.
Because there's always new, better stuff.
Okay.
But if you spend your money on experiences, and that's what we work to do now, is we work to have much less stuff and spend a lot more time just traveling and experiencing things. Because if you spend your money on experiences, it's so much more fulfilling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
So I understand that. Let me ask you this. Let's say you yourself, let's say right now, Nick, you create an info product.
Mm-hmm.
When you put it out there to the universe, in your mind, do you have a numbers on? No, at all.
Mm-mm.
So what do you focus on in your brain here? What do you focus on?
The value, the benefit to the people who, like when I'm creating a product or when I'm creating some type of info piece or I'm writing or I'm recording video or I'm journaling about the stuff that I care about, it's not for the monetary value that I'm going to receive. Okay. It's for the value it's going to give to the next person that reads it.
Okay.
That's the only thing I care about. I'm focused on, is this going to land with people? Because the God's honest truth is, if it lands, if it clicks, if it connects with them, you'll never have to worry about the monetary gain.
Okay. So in your brain, it's all about like, okay, I want to give people the best information out there, so that people will be able to have at least that one little nugget that can change their life.
I want to get people to think for themselves.
Okay.
So anytime that I'm creating something, it's not about how much money am I going to get off of this, it's how many people is this going to turn on. And I mean like switch on the mind, not arouse, to clarify. But yeah, how many people is this going to, is it going to switch on? How many people are going to read this and be like, yeah, that's what's up, I get that. Thanks, Nick, I'm going to go apply that to the things that I do in my life, and it's going to make my life better. And if you guys haven't realized yet, there's kind of a recurring theme to everything that I produce. It's all about, how to say please, how to say thank you, how to be a grateful human being, how to reflect on what you have, how to not live in the world of needs. It's all about, helping people understand the prime mover. And the biggest confusing thing to us all is that we believe that self-preservation is our basic most human need. That's the need. That's the thing we're all trying to take care of, is self-preservation. No, self-preservation is an emergency response to things being terrible.
So how about like this, Nick? I mean, I know you are really big into motivating people to do what they really want in their life, and you even say like, oh, you know what, Nick? You know what, Henry? I don't. When I do things, I focus on value first. I'm not gonna count the numbers of monetary gains that I'm gonna get from this. Now, but on the other hand, a lot of people, I'm not saying about anybody, I'm just a lot of people, they have this, some people who have a limited belief in their mind that things is not possible for them. Like, hey, let's say, Henry, I cannot do this, I don't think you can do this, I don't think you can break 6 figures, I don't think you can this and that and so on. How do you eliminate this in your brain? Because they're kind of trying to put all this seed in your brain so that you can never get to where you want to be.
I don't hear things like that. I just don't. I never hear criticism. I hear the tragic expressions of unmet needs, and I hear people reflecting things they don't like about themselves on me. But I never take any of it personal.
Okay.
So like if somebody says, I don't think you can do that, what I hear is, some tragic expression. If I have somebody say, I don't think you can hit 6 figures, and I would think to myself, I wonder if they're skeptical because they've been stuck in a rut financially and they don't get their needs met. You know, like, are you not performing where you want to be performing at? Is that what you're trying to say to me? And usually, if you hit them with a little bit of empathy, you can find out why they're being critical. People aren't critical for the sake of being critical. People are being critical because they're hurt. They're not good at asking for help. If someone tells you they don't think you can hit 6 figures, it's probably because they want help hitting 6 figures and don't know how to ask for it.
So you use what you're trying to say. If this person said that, oh, Henry, I don't think you can hit 6 figures or whatever it is on your launch, and chances are it's pretty much they themselves cannot hit 6 figure, but they are trying to impose it on you that for their limited belief itself.
Exactly. It's easier to tell ourselves that we're all limited and to criticize somebody else and say, oh, they can't do it, so that you feel better about not doing it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if we counter and say, well, hey man, are you feeling like you deserve a 6-figure launch that you haven't pulled off? Like, how come? Like, do you know why? Like, what can I do to help you? And if you walk around and instead of hearing people's criticisms, you respond with empathy and offer help, oh man, everything gets easier. And the crazy part is when you need help, everybody wants to help you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the secret to everything, really, is do people want to help you?
I see. So I mean, it depends on the situation itself. Like it depends on whether someone believes in themselves or not, right? So
a lot of times, yeah. A lot of times, the reason people are critical is because they don't believe in themselves.
Okay. So what you're trying to say to me, it seems like very resonant with what I personally believe as well. It just kind of you're so into a deeper level mindset, which is like for you in your brain is more like, okay, you know what? I don't care about the monetary gains that I'm going to get from this, but I want to make sure every product that I'm going to come up with is going to give people the value first. Is this how the universe works, or I mean, are you having a problem with your brain? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, because a lot of people think more logical way. Do you know what I mean? It's different than the mindset that you have right now, Nick.
Well, my mindset comes from being hit a lot. Okay. The more you get hit, at some point you break. And when I broke, I found out that what was inside was a little bit of deeper understanding. I found out that my heart wasn't hard. My heart wasn't hard. My heart was very soft. Mm-hmm. And so when I broke, I became a lot more sensitive, and I became a lot more empathetic. Mm-hmm. I think it's a word. Empathetical sounds like a word. We'll go with it. But empathetic, I think, I became more empathetic. That's probably the right word. But essentially, I just began to number one, I began to read a lot. And I began to look at okay, well, what is everybody trying to say? There's all these people who are trying to tell us how to be self-actualized. That's when the click happened for me, too. It was like, all right, so if I'm not in competition with anybody else and I'm only in competition with myself, then that's my basic human need, is to win, right? So if the only person you're in competition with is yourself, then what is winning? Winning is being a little bit better today than you were yesterday. Just beating your past self by some small measurable increment to yourself. That's it. That's it. Self-actualization is literally the idea that I am doing a little bit better today than yesterday. And we all have bad days, and what's important is after a bad day to go to sleep, to reset, and to wake up and say, hey, guess what? I can start over again. And we've just lowered the bar, so making today better than yesterday is even easier.
Exactly.
All today has to do is not suck if yesterday sucked.
So I know we are running out of time here, but Nick, let me ask you one last question here.
Okay.
We talk about stuff, realization, actualization, and so on. Let me actually get to the core point here. What is your purpose of life?
I believe my purpose is to understand how to reconnect people and how to explain that. So, I made my living as a salesman, and when I started to boil down, I'm the best salesman, it was like, no, it's deeper than that. well, I'm the best. No, no, it's deeper than that. And then I really realized what it was. I'm really good at understanding and explaining things. I'm really sensitive and empathetic, and I have this wonderful gift of gab. So, like, what is that? That's understanding and explaining. So if I'm really good at understanding and explaining, then how do I use that to help the common good? I got to get them to understand that they're all connected to each other. Because here's the trick, right? So if all the things that are making society worse are anesthetics that are designed to dehumanize and disconnect us from each other, then everything I should be doing is teaching people to engage with aesthetics, the opposite of anesthetic. Conversation, music, art, life, literature, anything that pulls them into the present moment. Because the more of us that are living together in the present moment without fear and anxiety, the better the world literally gets. Because once you're all in that moment, you see your connection to each other, and the ability to dehumanize each other goes away. You cannot dehumanize something you're connected to.
Dehumanize. That's a big word over there. Wow. Well, Nick, is there anything else that you want to share with your audience, with the audience that listen to this conversation? You're such a, I don't know. I feel like I'm connected with you in the higher level stuff. It's just kind of different kind of conversation that we have here. Is there any way for the audience to get connected with you in any way so that they can follow you and learn from you?
I have Facebook. I'm open. I have one of those open accounts where I can have an unlimited number of followers, even if I can't friend you, and I still have, I think, room for more friends. So please come over.
What is your website again?
NickSementha.com, easy enough, or Formula Inc., the one that's on the bottom of the screen there. Those entities. But it's simple. I want to teach people how to say please and thank you. I want to teach people how to be present in the moment. And I want to teach people how to problem solve. And that's one of the things that's really amazing is how problem solving takes place. So if we're going to wrap up quickly, let me give you guys one thing. Since we've talked a lot of existentialism and we've talked a lot of, kind of quasi-spirituality, let me give you something that will help you in business. All right, you guys want to learn how to really, really, really quickly start to identify and solve problems? Would that help everybody in your audience?
Sure.
Cool. So let's talk about symptoms, problems, solutions, and answers. There are 4 distinct things. Some of them are infinite and some of them are finite. Symptoms oftentimes appear as problems, but if we step back and look at how they're connected to each other, we then begin to see them as what they are. They're symptoms, and they're part of a larger root cause problem. A good example of this, and the example we're going to use for this explanation, is I'm outside, I'm getting wet, I'm getting cold, my clothes are getting heavier, and my eyes are starting to sting for some reason. What do you think is happening to me? Those are all problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or are they symptoms of a larger problem?
It could be a symptom of a larger problem. Maybe he didn't sleep well or whatever. Yeah.
Maybe I'm outside and it's raining on me.
Yep.
I'm getting rained on. My clothes are getting heavier, I'm getting wet, I'm getting cold, my eyes are starting to become blurrier. All of this is happening because I'm getting rained on. Now, if I sit there and I focus on one symptom as a problem, say I'm getting cold, and I keep trying to get more jackets on me, I bundle up another layer and I'm still outside, it's going to keep getting colder because I'm going to get more and more soaked to the bone and have more and more wet layers of clothes on me outside in a rainstorm. I can Band-Aid, but I cannot fix the problem if I don't know what the problem is. So you have to step back and actually connect as many of the problems as possible. You almost have to view the problems in your life as the problems in your business as somebody gave you a box of puzzles, and there are multiple puzzles in the box, and you need to figure out and put those puzzles together and figure out how many puzzles there are, not just try to solve each piece. Does that make sense?
Yep, make a lot of sense.
Figure out what the problem is, the solution is finite. And what I mean by that is every problem has a single solution, the opposite of the problem. So if I'm getting rained on, the solution is to not get rained on. That's it. That's it. There are dozens, maybe thousands of answers that can facilitate a solution, but those are answers. Now here's where the biggest problem comes for a lot of us. We immediately react when a problem comes, and we demand an answer from the people around us, or the people that work for us, the people in our business, the people in our immediate vicinity. So if I'm getting rained on and I go to all of my employees and I say, give me an umbrella, and they don't have an umbrella, I'm forcing them to behave as a binary mind. Yes or no. That's all I can get from them. Give me an umbrella. I don't have an umbrella, sir. Damn it, give me an umbrella. I don't have an umbrella. give me an umbrella. And I'm getting angrier and angrier because I only see one answer to my problem. Now, if I go to those same group of people, okay, and I tell them my solution, and I request their help with my solution, guess what I'm doing to their minds?
Mm-hmm.
If I go and I say, hey, I don't want to get rained on, can you help me? Guess what they're going to offer? A solution. It could be any solution because their brain's going to go into that problem-solving mode now. Instead of just behaving on and off, it's going to go into, how can I help this person? Maybe they'll hand you a piece of cardboard. Maybe they'll invite you into their house. But how sad is it when our lives are built in a way that we demand from people an answer, and we sit out in the rain screaming for an umbrella while someone's trying to invite us in for dinner?
Wow. That's amazing. Wow.
So if there's one thing I can give you guys as advice for your business, it's stop demanding answers from people and start requesting help with the solutions.
Wow.
Turn people's minds on. Don't turn them into machines. If you need a 0 or a 1 out of a person, you can put a computer in their place. Humans are meant to create, innovate, and think.
Wow. Well, I mean, this is such a lot of information that I personally have to digest as well because, you know, when I listen to what you mentioned itself, before I had a conversation with Tammy, I just like, oh, I need this, I need this, I need this. But at the same time, I got your point in which that, okay, you have to think about it in a way that you need to have ask them for the solution itself faster. Now, you pretty much answer all these questions that we have here. I mean,
I have one.
yeah, go ahead.
Nick, this is kind of back to Mayhem, but we asked a lot of the people that we interviewed who impressed them most at Mayhem, and I want you to know that Jay Cruz told us that that person was you. So now I have to ask you the same question. Who most impressed you at Mayhem?
God, that's such a difficult question. You know, there was a pretty amazing group of people that I spent a lot of time with, and they know who they are, and they know how much I appreciate all of them. But there was one really interesting kind of weird, precocious little gentleman that popped up on me a couple of times, and the more I've come to interact with him, the more I appreciate him for exactly what he's doing, and that's Rehan. I don't know if you guys were lucky enough to meet that little ball of energy, but he doesn't seem to want anything from anyone except to just see them help each other. And it's probably the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And when we were all down there in San Diego worrying about how to make some more money, he left and took a homeless dude that he met, not only brought him to the convention to teach him internet marketing, but took the homeless dude to go buy a laptop and set him up with everything he needed to get moving, and is helping him and got him some mentors and tutors to help him turn his life around. So,
Really?
yeah, that's what he was doing when we were all worrying about how to make a buck. And I was just, you know, it almost brought tears to my eyes. I was like, wow, that's what you're doing with your time? Like, and I've never been so struck by a human being's just genuine. He doesn't care about anything except for helping people and connecting people. Like, he really, the second you try to talk to him about anything other than that, it's almost like his eyes roll into the back of his head. He doesn't care anymore. All he wants to know is, what are we doing to connect each other? What are we doing to help each other? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you know, he's done very well for himself, so I assume he has a different survival instinct than the rest of us have, but the fact that that's what he was doing with his time when we were all there, that really blew me away.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Nick, for your time. And guys, if you listen to this conversation, make sure you go to nicksementha.com. Is that Blue Ink? Is that right?
Formulainc.com.
Formulainc.com, so that you can follow him, learn from him, and understand what he show you to build your business successfully. Because it seems like Nick got to the point in which that is not just about, oh, you know what, I want to make an extra $5,000 or $10,000 per month. Instead, he's more into telling you, if you want to become happy, you should just focus on the hard work first, and the monetary gain will come on its own. So thank you so much, Nick.
Absolutely. Just so you guys know, that bit of work-related stuff I gave you, the symptoms, problems, solutions, and answers, that is available as a course in 2 weeks. So that is something that is very inexpensive to download and comes with like everything written out and broken down section by section. They all relate to each other and how to actually find those bits. Shameless plug at the end.
All right.
That's okay.
Thank you so much. And then, guys, just go to nicksementha.com and then get the book. All right? Thank you so much. Thank you, Nick. Take care now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Nick.